So last season, I think at the end of The Bachelor, I think for one of the more we didn't really see a front runner for Bachelorette. There were a lot of candidates for it. So what was it about Hannah that made you guys pick her?
Yeah, I think you're right. At the end of The Bachelor, we had maybe an embarrassment of riches of just a lot of ways we could have gone with The Bachelorette coming up. There was a tough debate and a pretty heated debate, as there always is, as to who's going to be the person. But I think at the end of the day, we all settled on Hannah just because of what she brings to the table, which is her emotion, her charisma, her charm, her vulnerability, her excitement, just a down-home girl. She is the girl next door, and just a great, compelling story of kind of, if you think you know her, you don't, like she's leaving that beauty pageant sash behind and coming in hot. And it's a great season. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we saw that from the promo. She kind of was shedding the beauty pageant.
Yeah.
So how would you describe her journey as a Bachelorette? Because I got to say, if I'm being honest, she seemed a little nervous when we first, after the rose.
She wasn't nervous after the final rose. She was underwater overwhelmed, 100%. And again, that's kind of one of the things I love about her is what you see is what you get with Hannah. And I was just as nervous as you were. I'm like, wow, okay, we're going to have our work cut out for us. But she is a strong, fierce woman. She came in night one firing on all cylinders. I'm like, that's the Hannah. And right away, I mean, literally we were less than an hour into shooting that first night, and I went into the production room and said, this is a home run. Like, she's awesome. She's awesome. So I know people, like, you had a reason to be nervous after the final rose. I was too.
She couldn't talk, Chris.
No, she had trouble articulating anything. But people have to understand, it's overwhelming as hell. You're on live TV in front of millions of people, and you're essentially starting this journey that she didn't know. We obviously surprised her with everything. And so there are no lines, there's no script. She's not reading off a prompter, she's just winging it. She'll handle her own. Don't you worry about Hannah.
Any memorable entrances this season?
Of course there's memorable entrances. It's night one of The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Obviously, in night one of The Bachelorette, there's memorable entrances. The Box King, he's the Box King of Chicago. Definitely one of the more interesting, and I would say personally, scary entrances. If you're claustrophobic, I wouldn't have done this. It would have scared the heck out of me. Let's see. Obviously, there's some Colton throwbacks. You can imagine, Fence, Virgin. There are those references. So yeah, there's some good ones. There's some guys bringing it on night one. And also some guys that were crazy nervous. That if you thought Hannah was nervous after the final rose and couldn't speak, these guys put her to shame. It was interesting just to watch successful, strong, type A men just melt in a moment. That's what this show does to you. So
when you guys are back in production watching these introductions, are you just like embarrassed for them? Are you feeling for them? Or are you? Well,
look, what's interesting is we know these guys, just like we knew Hannah before she came on after the final rose. You know these guys. They've been in, the hotel room and they've been practicing their entrances. And of course, they nail it. They're funny, they're articulate, they're charismatic. And then you walk out and there's the house and there's the lights, there's Hannah, there's cameras, and some of the guys just puke on themselves. They just, if we were referencing sports, they choke.
What about the guys' drama? Is there any villains this season?
You know how I always say, I've been told, I say a lot, this is the most dramatic season ever. This is the most drama-filled season ever of The Bachelorette.
Why is that?
We've never had more man drama ever. And it starts right away. I mean, these guys are on each other. These guys are going at each other. It gets verbal, it gets physical. These guys are brutal on each other this season. And the only explanation is Hannah. This is what the only thing I guess I could pinpoint of what they're after and what they're fighting for. But it's a interesting season. I will say it's a season like no other.
The Bachelorette reunion. How fun was that, having all these Bachelorettes back together?
I'm glad you asked that because I just watched it last night. I just watched the special, still a little rough cut. I got emotional. I was sitting there with my son. I was watching it on my iPad, and my son, of course, had his, and he looks over at me. He's like, "What are you smiling at?" And I realized I had this crazy, stupid grin on my face watching all these women. I felt like this prideful father watching his girls, and I don't know, it was just special. Looking back at all the Bachelor, and there's a lot of Bachelor stuff in here too, just looking back at all the years. I mean, me and Alex on night one, looking at Trista in the first Bachelorette on night one, and watching from Becca all the way to Trista, all of our Bachelorettes lined up. Obviously, Hannah's not a part of it, she's filming. It meant a lot. And to hear, and there's this great part of the show where it's just the women in the mansion by themselves, just drinking champagne and talking and telling stories. And we've never had anything like it before. And my heart just blew up with pride, and I loved it. I hope people will love it as much as I did. I think they will.
Did you see the Kaitlyn and Jason romance coming? What do you think about that?
I didn't see it coming. I did not see Kaitlyn and Jason coming, but I'm 100% there for it. I am all in on this. I knew a while before the world knew, because Kaitlyn and I are very good friends, and she was, texting me throughout this whole thing about, is this crazy? And, and it's so right, and I'm loving this. And I am 100% there for it. I love both of them very much. And when they're together, even better.
And last question, can you tell us anyone exciting who's going to Paradise? Any names, what to expect?
Well, I said before, I will not be going myself. I will not be hosting unless Demi is there.
Okay. Good clause in the contract.
But I've looked at who's scheduled to be there. This may be our best all-star selection ever. It's a just veritable who's who of your Bachelor favorites. It's a good season.
Want more extra? Hit the subscribe button and the bell and never miss a video.